So I came in this morning and I hit inverter and it does not turn on. So I have no power. I'm going to go back now and turn it off. I'm going to turn it on again. Now it clicked on. And if I go to this, it works. Sometimes this thing, I'll do this process 3 times. And I've had the same experience when I've tried the Rixon hot water heater. I turn on the furnace and I turn on the hot water, wherever that is. And I turn on the hot water. I wait for the Rixon to kick in. Nothing happens. I went to the app initially, but I couldn't get into that anymore on the Rixon. So then I turn around and come back here and do this process again. Turn that all off, and then I turn it on again. These two, furnace and hot water. And sometimes I do it 3 times, and all of a sudden, the 3rd time, after waiting a couple minutes or a minute or whatever it is, the Rixon will kick on. So that level of unreliability isn't acceptable to me. And I don't know if it's a screen, I don't know if it's a software issue, whatever. Now let me give you another example then of what I've been dealing with. I turn this off. So now I'll come in here and I'll touch the screen and it'll be white, completely white. Nothing will work. I can try any of these buttons and it just is frozen in space. I keep hitting the off button. Finally, it will either go black and I'll start all over, or it'll just suddenly start filling in. The first thing that'll happen is I'll see a little circle like this will come up, and then another one, but no information on it at all as to my power level. So let's go back to the main screen. So if I'm in here, for example, the first thing that'll show are the circles, and then it'll say house battery, and eventually, after a few minutes, the whole thing fills in. So then the percentages and all of that stuff will ultimately turn on. So my question, I have a real strong problem with the reliability function of this. The other thing that concerns me is if I go to Victron here, now you're starting to see some issues. I get nothing. So I don't know what to do with this thing. So that's useless to me in this form. Now if this isn't working, then I go back to my Victron app, and if I pull that up and I plug into Victron and the servo, it takes me to another site. And if that doesn't, function, or that hasn't functioned, then I have no way of seeing how my power supply is going if it turns out that the main screen, and here again, I have no idea what's going on half the time with this stuff. I'm punching buttons here, trying to go to the controls, nothing. Now it finally comes back. That to me is not reliable enough. If I'm in the middle of the Yukon and I don't know if it's going to be one of these frumpy days and it's eventually going to come back up, is it going to not come back up? Is the inverter going to turn on or not turn on? It's just not acceptable. And I don't know if anybody else is having these issues. I suspect they are because I've heard that through the grapevine that they are. But I don't know if it's the damn screen or what it is. But we're leaving in a trip here in a week. This is, and we want it to work. So anyway, that's where we're at.